Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Manojavam Marutatulya Begam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtham Vatatmajam Vanarayutha Mukhyam Shri Ramadutam Shirasa Namami Kujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakham Vande Valmiki Kokilam Apadam Apahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham Dakshine Lakshmano Yasya Vame Cha Janakatmaja Purato Marutir Yasya Tam Vande Raghunandanam. Very, very exciting scene and moment. Historic, perhaps, that something extraordinary that remains in the entire history of mankind or humankind until the end of creation. As it says, as long as there are mountains and rivers, the glory of Sri Ramachandra and his devotees, associates, will be sung. And the greatest associate or servant of Sri Ramachandra is Sri Hanumanji. There are millions of temples of Sri Ramachandra and Sita Devi. And they cannot be a temple of Sri Ramachandra without Hanumanji also at the temple, either sitting right by his feet or standing by the door, ready for service. But there are many, many, many temples of only Hanumanji. But there is no temple of only Sri Ramachandra or only Sri Ramachandra and Sita Devi. Hanuman has to be there. Somewhere has to be there. Such greatness the Lord bestowed upon his servant that his servant is actually talked more about than the Lord himself. And so the entire Ramayana's fascinating section is called Sundara Kanda, which I am very impatient to get to. But for us to get to Sundara Kanda, Sri Hanumanji has to decide to go to Lanka. And that's what we're going to hear today. When Jambavan inspired Sri Hanumanji that you are the only one that can do this, and gave him a brief history of his birth and life up until that point, Hanumanji became inspired. And he said, I will go. And the reason Hanumanji kept quiet all this while is, as we know, Hanumanji was, I guess, cursed or curbed by great Brahmanas. As an entity in the Vanara species, plus being boyish or childish, he was full of mischief. And he wreaked havoc in the hermitages of all the sages who was to live around Anjanadri. Every day there was something. And the sages would either complain or they became exasperated by his mischief. So they thought about how to curb this young uh, child, is almost impudent in one sense. And so they told him that all the strength that you have, you will not remember until the very, very pregnant moment, and that too when someone reminds you of your strength. So Jambavan played this very pivotal role in reminding Hanumanji of his strength. Now Hanumanji was innocent, mischievous, but innocent. So technically we don't call it a curse, we just call it a disciplinary action. Similarly, Karna also received a curse, but it's quite opposite in nature. Hanumanji's, if you want to call it a curse, Hanumanji's curse was, you will only remember all your strength when someone reminds you. Up until that point, you will not remember. Karna was told, at the right moment, exactly when you need it the most, everything that you want, you will forget. And so Karna, at the point when he was ready to kill Arjuna, forgot the mantras for the Nagastra or whatever that astra was. And Karna became helpless and lost the battle. While Hanumanji was reminded by our great Jambavan, and Hanuman became so ready that at the end of chapter 66, when Jambavan tells Hanumanji, oh Hanuman, you can jump across this ocean. In fact, you alone are the one that can accomplish this. None of us, and we are all here, we're anxious to see what your real power is. Tata vijrumbhasya vikrantaha plavatam uttamohyasi tvat viryam drashtum kama iyam sarva vanara vahini. Vahini is army. Iyam sarva vanara vahini. This entire monkey army has a desire. Kama, meaning we all have that desire. Drashtu viryatvat. We want to see your virya, your valor. Now, although we hear the names of the monkeys that are there, Angada, Jambavan, Sri Hanuman, Nala, Neela, Dvivida, Mainda, Mainda, Gava, Gavaksha, Gandhamadana, there are millions of other monkeys also with them. They're not just the 8 of them. And they're all eager. Although the only 8 are mentioned or referred to, but all of them are there. So as soon as Hanuman heard this, the chapter begins with Tam drashtva jrambhamanam te kramitum shatayojanam vegena apuryamanam cha sahasa vanarottamam sahasa shokamutsrujya praharshena samanvitaha vineduh tushtuvu chapi Hanumanta Mahabalam. As Hanuman is hearing Jambavan praise him and remind him of his true qualities and nature, Hanuman's form is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. Tam drashtva, they are watching as they're fascinated. Jrumbhamana means to increase. Te kramitum shatayojanam. He was becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, preparing to cross over 100 yojanas. And Vegena Apuryamanam, in his body, that the necessary force, thrust required to meet the speed that is required to travel across, they are all noticing, because Hanumanji is going through bodily transformations. Sahasa shokam utsrujya. Sahasa means immediately. Shokam utsrujya, all their sorrow or despondency vanished, because they felt like a new life had come into them. Praharshena samanvita, and they all became joyful. Harsha means joy. Praharsha, extremely. They became jubilant immediately. Vineduhu. They started making all these sounds and noises. Tushtuvuhu, they became satisfied, happy. Cha api Hanumantam, also Hanumanji. They saw, as his size was increasing, they saw in Hanumanji hope, aspiration, success, great joy, valor. Because the other option was they're all going to die, this way or that way. And suddenly, when there is hope for a new life, they became joyful. And Vinedu, that joy, there was such a murmur and din about it. Everyone became so happy. And monkeys, they started becoming restless and jumpy and agitated, because suddenly they said, oh, we can live, we can survive. Hanumanji can help us, he can save us. Praharshta vismita chapi te vikshante samantataha trivikramaha krita utsaham narayanam ivam prajaha. Their joy was like the joy of the citizens of the entire universe when they saw Vamanadev expand his size. Because up until the time, Bali Maharaj had taken over the entire ruling of the universe. So the Devatas became dissatisfied. And when Devatas are dissatisfied, all the living beings become dissatisfied on the earthly realm. So for everyone to feel joy, Vamanadev had appeared, and his size from a dwarf became so massive that covered the entire universe. Hanumanji was also growing like that. So Valmiki compares the joy of the monkeys to the joy of all the living beings when they saw the great Narayana, Trivikrama, Vamandev. And all the monkeys started folding their hands and reciting prayers of appreciation and glory for Hanuman. Stuyamano Hanuman Vyavardhata Mahabala. Vyavardhata, he kept on growing in size. Stuyamana, they were reciting prayers. Samavidhyachalangulam Harshad Balam Upeyivan. And Hanumanji, as a means of reciprocation and also showing them that he was ready, he took his tail and lashed it on the ground, making a loud noise. That was his announcement of readiness to go. Tasya samstuyamanasya sarve vanara pungavaihi tejasa apuryamanasya rupamasi tanuttamam. They were astounded to see Hanumanji's form. Anuttamam. Anuttamam means something that cannot be surpassed. Hanuman's form became something that no monkey had ever seen. Rupam Anuttamam. Apuryamanasya tejasa. His body became filled with all sort of tejas, effulgence, spiritedness. Tatha vijambrate simho Vivrute girigahware marutasya aurasaha putra tatha samprati jambhrite. This son of Vayu, Marutasya Aurasaha Putraha. Uru means thighs, or as they say in English, loins. Aurasa means one who comes from the loins. It means a son. Aurasaha Putraha Marutasya, Hanuman. And what was he doing? Samprati Jambhrite. He started pouncing here and there, jumping from one situation to another, one place to another, just jumping as getting ready. Have you ever seen a gymnast or a runner? Just before they get ready, they jump, they loosen their muscles, they get ready. That's what Hanumanji was doing. And yatha vijrumbhate simha. So here it says jrimbhate and vijrimbhate. Both words are there. Vijrimbhate means becomes restless and prowls around like a lion at the mouth of a cave. Simho vivrite, vivrite in a very wide open, giri gahware, inside a cave of a mountain, just as a lion prances around, is ready for that jump. Hanumanji was like a lion. So here are all the similes and metaphors. One, he was growing in size like Vamandev. He was prancing around, ready, getting all ready to make that jump like a lion at the mouth of a cave of a mountain. Then next, Ashobhat mukham tasya jrimbhamanasya dhimataha ambarisha upamam deeptam vidhum iva pavakaha. So all these wonderful similes and metaphors are meditations about Hanuman. I'm hoping that in our mind we can visualize Sri Hanumanji. Ashobhat mukham tasya. Hanuman's face became decorated. Jrimbhamanasya dhimata. As he was jumping and inflating and becoming bigger in size, Ambarisha upamam deeptam. Ambarisha means the horizon, or they say a hot frying pan. Upamam deeptam vidhum. Vidhum iva pavaka. Pavaka is fire. When you have pure fire and it glows without smoke, you see the fire in its full glory. Like that, a red hot pan, when kept on fire, you can see the pan becoming red. Hanuman's face was becoming effulgent like a hot pan or a fire without smoke. Because when there is smoke, you can't see the fire clearly. Harinam uttito madhyat samprahashta tanuruhu abhivadya harim vridhan Hanuman idam abravit. Abhivadya harim vridhan. Abhivadya, in as his size is growing and all the millions of monkeys are glorifying him, that glory didn't go to Hanuman's head. Although he's very big in size, very mighty in posture, Hanuman folded his hands and offered all the elderly monkeys, Harin Vridhan. What did he do? Abhivadya. Abhivadya means he offered great words of respect and sought their blessings. And right in the middle of all this that is going on, and idam abravit, this is what Hanumanji said. I'm not going to read every verse because like this will never get through it, but I'll just go through the English of it. I'll just read one verse and then we'll go through the English of it. Arujan Parvatagrani Hutashana Sakho Nilaha Balavan Aprameyah Chavayuhu Akasha Gocharaha. He says, that mighty Vayu that can shake and topple mountaintops, whose best friend is the fire god. Hutashana Sakho Anilaha. Anila is fire, Sakha, friend. Balavan Aprameya Chaha Vayu. Vayu's strength is indefatigable. And it is incomparable. Aprameya. It cannot be estimated. Pramana means to give an idea of an estimation of something. Aprameya, inestimable. One cannot say how strong wind is. And he says, Akasha Gocharaha, that wind that travels all over the sky, whose best friend is fire god, who has the power to topple mountaintops. I am the son of that great Vayu. And I have similar strength and power. Oh, great monkeys, leaders of whom is Jambavan, do you want me to go round the entire Mount Meru, whose circumference is inestimable? Or you want me to go up into the sky 1,000 times? Let me know. Would you like that the strength of my arms be demonstrated? That when I go into the ocean and slap the surface of the ocean, it will create such big waves that the world has never seen. And those waves can completely drown mountains, rivers, and lakes. Or do you want me to show you the strength of my thighs and knees? That when I slap the water with, or the air, not even the water, when I'm flying over, as I flap my legs, I can agitate the entire ocean, that the water from the ocean will come onto the land and all the sharks and other living beings will all become exposed. Because we have never heard an ocean becoming dry. Or would you like me to go 1,000 times around Garuda, who flies at such high speed, and when he's there, I can circumambulate Garuda? Actually, when Garuda flies, let's take the simple example of an aeroplane. When an aeroplane is flying a jet, you cannot be anywhere close to the jet because of, I'm not a physics expert, anyone who can tell us, the force of the wind around the plane is very intense. So Hanumanji is saying that when Garuda flies, all other birds just leave the sky. They either sit somewhere or move away because this mighty Garuda is flying. But I can go around Garuda 1,000 times if required. Would you like it? Oh, Vanaras, do you want me to follow the path of the sun from the time he rises to the time he sets, and before he rises again, I go around the entire world? Should I go into the sky? Should I go right into the ocean? Should I dig up the entire earth? Should I pulverize, make mountains become dust? Should I splash the waters of the ocean with my thighs? Or or just slap my tail such that the water of the ocean will just follow my tail. When I fly, all creepers that are tightly bound around trees will become free and their flowers will shower all over the place. I can move into the sky in the north, in the south. I can fly northward and descend on the southerly direction, which means I can cover the entire universe if required. Tell me, what way would you like me to show my strength to you? When I fly through clouds, I can scatter the clouds completely. I can turn a mountain upside down, etc. And then verse after verse, verse after verse. He says, when I bhavishyati mehe rupam plavamanasya sagaram vishno prakramamanasya tada trin vikramativa. When I fly over the ocean, I can become as big as Vishnu, who covered the entire universe in 3 steps. Trin vikramaman iva. I can promise you that I will find Vaidehi, the daughter of the king of Videha, because I have the speed of Marutasya samo vego. I have the speed equal to Vayudev. Garudasya samo jave. And I have the velocity of Garuda. Java means the velocity. Ayutam yojananam tu gamishyami itime mati. Ayutam is hundreds of thousands, 10,000. 10,000 yojanas I can go like this. So this jave, Garudasya samo jave. So we hear the word java as soon as we recite the mantra of Hanumanji. Mano javam, maruta tulya vegam, jita indriyam, buddhimatam varishtham, vata atmajam, vanara yutha mukhyam, Shri Ramadutam shirasa namami. I offer my prostrated obeisances to Sri Hanumanji, who is the son of wind god Vayudeva, who has manojavam, the velocity of the mind. With our minds, we can travel to any place within a moment. Our limitation is we can only go with our mind. Our body doesn't move at that speed. But Hanumanji, because he's called Manojavam, he can move at the speed of mind. Now there is speed, but what about momentum? He says, Manojavam Maruta Tulya Vegam, Marutasya Tulya Vegam. He has the momentum equal to that of wind god. That momentum is such that it moves planets in the sky. Here he says, Marutasya samo vegaha, Garudasya samo jave. And Ayutam yojananam tu gamishyami. Itime mati. I know, it's my opinion that I can go 10,000 yojanas like that. And he says, if you want, I can go bring the nectar from Lord, that Lord Brahma gave Indradev. I can bring it from his hands, even if Indra throws his thunderbolt at me. Vasavasya vajrasya brahmano vasam swayambhuvaha vikramasya sahasa hastat amrutat tat iha anaye. Anaye means to bring. I can bring that amrita from Indradeva if you want. Lankam va api samuttikshapya gacheyam itime mati. If I can't find Sita, I will bring the entire Lanka from the ocean right here. And Hanuman is loudly roaring in the sky and jumping up and down, getting ready. Then when all these Vanaras heard Hanumanji, all their fear, lamentation, sorrow, everything vanished. Parisamhrishto Jambavan, Parisamhrishta. So there is this, as devotees, we use these words that convey intensity. For example, we say wonderful, but then the devotees say very wonderful, superly wonderful. We put all these qualifiers. Here, Valmiki is also adding qualifiers. Harashtaha means joyful. Samhrashta, extremely joyful. Parisamhrishta, completely extremely joyful. In Sanskrit, when you use the word pari, it means in totality. In a full sense. That's where in Bhagavad Gita we hear pariprashnena sevaya. Pariprashna is not just question. One should question in a totality sense, in a big picture sense. One should ask questions that are holistic. And then Jambavan said, Veera Kesharim Putraha Vegam Marutatmajaha Gyatinam Vipulaha Shokaha Tvaya Tat Pranashyatihi. Oh, by you, great son of Vayu, all of our sorrow you have removed. Tvaya Tata Pranashyati. Tata, he's calling him, oh my dear Hanuman, my darling, my dear Hanuman. Tava Kalyana Ruchayaha Kapi Mukhya Samagataha. Tava Kalyana Ruchayaha. We bless you that may you go and come back successfully. And the purpose for which you are going, may that become fulfilled. Mangalam Karya Siddhi Artham Karishyanti Samahitaha. Without the blessings of superiors, without the blessings of previous acharyas, however wonderful one may be, their karya, their effort cannot become siddhi, successful. So while Hanuman is speaking about himself, one might think, oh, is he goading and gloating about his own capability? No, these are all words of humility. And the humility is that although he's saying, I can accomplish this, I can accomplish that, he is very clear, which we will hear in Sundara Kanda, that all of this is the grace of Sri Ramachandra, that one ring that he has in his possession by the name Sri Rama can make him accomplish all these things. In fact, his glorification or his expression of his own capacity is not to be taken as a prideful expression. These are all words of humility, which is very unnatural for us, perhaps, because we're used to hearing humility means saying very diminutive words about oneself. But if you notice, Prabhupada never spoke diminutively about himself. In certain circumstances, he did. Yes, when he was told, "Oh, you are the greatest," he said, "No, I'm just a tiny servant of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. I'm just a servant of the servants." Hanumanji will also speak like that when he meets Sita Devi. When he's among his Vanaras, he's inspiring them to not lose heart. In fact, he's giving them life. The difference is when an arrogant person speaks, other people, the person who's speaking may feel all inspired. Other people around him will never feel inspired, or her. They will not feel inspired. But humility inspires everybody. And here Jambavan, who's such a senior in them, If he recognizes that Hanumanji is arrogant, he would have told him, sit there quietly. But Jambavan is saying, Tava Kalyana Ruchaya Kapi Mukhya Samagata. You are the one that will go, and we bless you that you get everything that you need. Mangalam Karis Dhartham. Not only successful, but auspicious also. Karishyanti. Samahita, all of our collective blessings are on you. And then he says, Rishinam cha prasadena kapi vriddhe matena cha. By our well-wishing and also the blessings of all the great sages. Rishinam cha prasadena, by the mercy of the great sages. By our matena, by our sankalpa also. Gurunam cha prasadena, by all the spiritual masters that you have, let their blessings come to you. Plavasvatvam maharnavam, may you cross this ocean. Gurunam cha, may all the spiritual masters bless you. Sthasyamaha cha ekapadena yavat agamanam tava. And in our anticipation of your return, up until that time, we will all be standing on one leg. Sthasyamaha, all of us will stand ekapadena, on one leg, on one foot. Tvat gatani cha sarvesham jivitani vanokasam. And all of our lives are dependent on you. We will hold our life on the hope that you come back successfully, on the confidence and hope that you come back successfully. Tata cha harishardulaha tam uvacha vanokasaha o api loke name vegam lavena dharayishyati. That tiger-like monkey, Hanumanji, spoke to all the monkeys. When I jump and bounce on this earth, anything living or inanimate will not be able to bear the power by which I jump. Which means nobody can bear, and what is not spoken, the dhvani in the verse is only Sri Ramachandra and Lakshmana can bear that, because they are the source, or they are the support of the entire creation. Then Hanuman looked around and he said, oh, this Mount Mahendra, which is full of boulders and trees and standing so high and tough looking, that will be the best place from where I can catapult myself to go to Lanka. And when I push down to generate the potential energy in me that is required to give me the thrust to jump, this entire mountain will crush under my feet. And by that, I will be able to cross that great ocean that stands between us and our search of Sita Devi. And then he speaks about how his flight will be. And then Hanuman, standing on top of Mount Mahendra, Valmiki Rishi speaks this last verse. Excellent verse that has so much in it. So I'm going to spend a few minutes reciting and discussing this verse. This is the 49th verse, the last verse of Kishkinda Kanda. Savegavan Vega Samahitatma Haripravira Paravirahanta Manas Samadhaya Mahanubhavo Jagamalankam Manasa Manasvi. So it has meaning, it has poetry, it has all of that. So let's look at the meaning first. Sa, he, who is that he? Hanuman. This Hanuman has been given wonderful adjectives by Valmiki Rishi. Samahitatma, Vega Samahitatma. He collected all of that velocity or speed within him. That means his potential energy is increasing and increasing like anything. And then he called him Paravira Hanta, one who can completely destroy any opposing enemy or any opposing factors. Mahanubhava. Because the word Maha-Anubhava has so many layers of meanings, but immediately it means a very great person. But Maha-Anubhava, from Rupa Goswami's discussions, Anubhava is this very special feeling of ecstasy. And Maha, when you add to it, it has a great sense of ecstasy, anticipating the service that he has. And finally calls him Manasvi. Manasvi means one whose mind is very, very strongly rooted in truth and dharma. And for each of these characteristics, there is something that he associates or adds to. Okay, so let's take so these are the qualities of Hanuman. Now let's take line by line. Vegavan, Vega Samahitatma. Although he is very speedy, Vega Samahitatma. He is building that speed within himself. He's getting ready to get that thrust. When we have seen rockets that are getting ready to go into space, while the countdown is happening, the rocket's engines are getting ready to push down. So they're building within them the great thrust. So Vegavan, Vega Samahitatma. Then the poetry, see the usage of the words. Hari Pravira Paravira Hanta. Ha Prava Pavaha. Hari Pravira Paravira Hanta. Hari Pravira. Hari Pravira means the best Veera, the best person, the best soldier, or the most Veera. The right word is the hero. The best of heroes among the monkeys. But Hari can also mean Lord Vishnu. Hari Pravira means the best of heroes of Lord Vishnu. Hanumanji. Paravira Hanta. Manas Samadhaya Mahanubhava. Manas Samadhaya. Although there is great ecstasy in him of his service, Manas Samadhaya. His mind has become very, very focused. Samadhaya. He's in Samadhi right now. And this word Samadhi, we understand from Bhagavad Gita, which was what was the title, that Hanumanji's Samadhi is defined by this verse in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Vyasayatmika Buddhi Ekeha Kuru Nandana. Bahushakha hi anantascha buddhayo avyavasayanam. Krishna compares Vyasayatmika Buddhi and avyavasaya Buddhi. He says, for Buddhi to be single-pointed, one's intelligence, Buddhi, one's considerations, aspirations should all be single-pointed. That I want to please my spiritual masters and the Supreme Lord. Here, Hanuman's very single-pointed goal is, I want to please Sri Ramachandra. That's my service. So, Mana Samadhaya. He has brought his mind into full Samadhi. And because he's in Samadhi, Mahanubhavo, he's the one who's experiencing great ecstasy. Or he's become a very great personality. Mahanubhava. And Jagama Lankam Manasa. Even before he jumped, in his mind or with his mind, he has entered Lanka. Manasa Lankam Jagama. He's already in Lanka. So this is the, to put in our practical terms, he already is visualizing what the goal is and how he has succeeded in his goal. He already has that vision. He already, instead of thinking in the future, he's already thinking, it is done. This is how great persons visualize the fantastic things they want to accomplish. And nowadays we find visualization as one of the techniques of bringing forward what one wants to accomplish. Or we hear these terms called affirmations. We recite affirmations, and instead of future tense, all affirmations are said in present, which means that in our mind we see ourselves in that situation today. So Hanumanji is already Manasa Jagama Lankam. Manasvi, very, very thoughtful, conscientious, a person whose mind is pure and clean and very focused. When Srila Prabhupada was sitting at a bus stop, someone said to him, next to him, and said, "Oh, you look like a Swami from India. Oh, do you have an organization?" He said, "Yes, we have an organization with hundreds of temples all over the world." At that time, there was nothing except, I think, 26 Second Avenue and maybe a center in Montreal, if my memory is right. And the person said, "Oh, where are they?" And Prabhupada said, "Only time separates us from that." So in Prabhupada's mind, all of that has already visualized. Jagama Manasa Lankam. Prabhupada is already there, because we are all trapped like Sita Devi in this big body called Lanka that is very beautiful, right in the middle of the ocean of material existence. And the way Prabhupada visualized that, so many people, Bhaktivinoda Thakur visualized that so many hundreds of thousands of people will be chanting of the holy name of the Supreme Lord, Sri Rama and Sri Krishna. Hanumanji already is in Lanka. Very beautiful verse. And this is where Kishkinda Kanda ends, and Sundara Kanda obviously will begin with the next verse. But the continuity is required to know why Hanumanji is going to speak the next verse of Sundara Kanda. Tato Ravana Nitaya, Valmiki is telling us. Sitaya Shatrukarshnaha Yesha Padaman Veshtum Charana Charite Pati. The preparation, the entire flight path has been visualized, he has decided, and that's what he's going to take. Let's see if there are any comments or questions on any of this. You want to add something I might have missed? Please do.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances. This is Atulya Devidasi. Are you able to hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you, Prabhu, for such detailed explanation on Hanumanji's, intention and preparation. I have a question on affirmations. I'm seeking more elaboration on it because sometimes I feel that if I am making very positive affirmations and visualization for something, I feel a fear of not being able to, that thing not manifesting, and probably feeling like not sure if that's going to happen. So I definitely feel that, when Srila Prabhupada said, something, and Hanumanji's thinking, their purity plays a big role in having those affirmations manifest. So do you have any thoughts to share?
Yeah, what you said is exactly true. Our entire day is filled with affirmations. When we sing Guru Ashtaka prayers, they're affirmations. When we sing Narsimhadev prayer, Tulsi prayers, they're all affirmations in a way that before starting deity worship, we recite the verse, I am not Brahmana, I am not Kshatriya, I am not Vaishya Shudra, I am the servant of the husband of the gopis, Lord Shri Krishna. I may say, I may never come true, I may never realize. But affirmations are spoken to orient us to what we do for the rest of the day. It's not that affirmations are some words that we say, but we don't follow along a lifestyle or a path that brings that. So yeah, is there a substitute for purity? Absolutely not. But is there a place for affirmations? Yes. Because as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, one cannot sit without doing anything. One has to do something. So either one can constantly think about the past or the future that one doesn't know. One can say, right now in this moment, whatever is the affirmation that I'm living on. And so one becomes attuned to opportunity. Because without attuning, we may not recognize the opportunity.
Mm.
When I say, I am a servant of Krishna, I'm a servant of Sri Ramachandra, that attunes me to look for service. Otherwise, why would I, even if there is hundreds of services in front of me, I may not even see it. Rupa Goswami gives a fantastic affirmation. I'm using the word affirmation in Padyavali. Vicheyani, vicharyani, vichintyani punah punaha, kripanasya dhananiva tam namani grinantinaha. He says, we are counting our holy name or the chanting of the holy name just like a kripana, a miserly person. What does the miserly person do? Vicheyani is constantly counting. Vicharyani is constantly thinking how to grow my money. Vichintyani, he's worried of expenses and losses. Puna puna, again and again, every day, hundreds of times, he will count his cash, make sure what are some opportunities to grow it, and what are the places where he can cut down any losses. We too count, be vigilant of how to chant more or increase the quality and how to reduce the losses in our chanting, like a kripana. Similarly, he says. So these are all ways by which we attune ourselves to the activities of life that we take on. And purity is drawn or brought along with those practices.
Mm. Thank you, Prabhu. Makes sense.
You're welcome.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much for this very, very touching narration, Prabhu. Many points here, but one thing that stood out for me amongst the many, where that just last week here in Bangalore, we had His Grace Gaurang Prabhu coming to the temple nearby. And in the class, it was part of Gita Jayanti, and he mentioned as an example how Sanatan Goswami wanted to commit suicide, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stopped him from committing suicide. And Gaurang Prabhu mentioned that this incident indicates how even the greatest of the great persons always need association. Somebody like Sanatan Goswami needed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we need the association of other devotees. And as you were saying, I could resonate it with Hanuman wanting that encouragement from Jambavan to find it out, what his true strength is, or to rekindle the mission of his life, the mission of his final mission. And it was very touching that the way you said it, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Well, I can't take credit for it, but it's something that Sri Hanumanji is such a hero of mine. Although I'm very proud to have a hero like him. I'm not sure he is to have a follower like me, but I have aspirations to become more of a recipient of his wonderful mercy and grace.
One other question on this affirmations here. The affirmations or the statements which Hanuman is making is with empowerment. He has been tasked with a mission and he has been blessed, and he is being empowered further by all the senior Varishta monkeys with him. And so he is already envisioning the future. When Srila Prabhupada went to the West, like the anecdote you were narrating, he was already blessed by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in various ways, perceptible and imperceptible ways. Can we say that affirmations in general have to follow with the blessings of superiors? Otherwise, it is imagination.
Depends on what kind of affirmations. So since we are in the circle of devotees, we've already been given similar empowerment by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bharata bhumite hoile manushya janmayar janma sartha kari kara para upakar. So that's been given. Before that, Lord Shri Krishna has given us etavat janma sapalyam griheshu. What is that? Etavat janma safalyam pranair arthair dhiya vacha.
Dehinam iha dehishu.
Huh?
Dehinam iha dehishu.
Dehinam iha dehishu. Thank you. Pranair arthair dhiya vacha shreya acharanam sadam. So that we have been given. As a human being, generally, affirmations can be imagination when the affirmations are not supported by, like to Atulya's response to Atulya, it has to be supported by the behavior or lifestyle that strengthens the affirmation. We use the word samskara. Samskaras are affirmations because they remind us, they put us on a particular track of, I don't know, I hate to use the word positivity, but for now, just for the sake, it's a very new age word, but let's say, for example, since our childhood, we've heard this many, many times. Asatoma sadgamaya, tamosoma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amrutam gamaya, sarve santu, sarve sukhino bhavantu, sarve santu niramaya, etc. They're all affirmations, and within those affirmations are the great blessings of the sages, etc. In a general sort of way to move towards the higher goal of life. Then there are specific empowerments by the spiritual masters for specific objectives or goals. It's there for all humanity. Sarve santu niramaya. Sarve is already covered. All living beings have been given that empowerment by the sages. It doesn't matter which country they are in. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. This is the work of the great persons that don't care who it is, whether the persons they know immediately or not. For generations to come, they have blessed and given the mercy. It's a matter of tapping into it. It's there. Then what to speak of someone finding a spiritual master and through that spiritual master and spiritual masters honing that or strengthening that further. That's fantastic. What do you say, Shamkun?
Thank you, Prabhu. I like it. Thank you.
No, you don't agree? You disagree?
Oh.
You're just being nice to me?
No, not at all, true. Not like that. Thank you. Yes, I agree to it totally, Prabhu. When I was mentioning like I have, I think it's what her name is, Louis Hay, something like that.
Louise.
Louis Hay. Some of her affirmations were like, I'm successful, I'm wealthy, etc. There were not everything is from scripture. What you were mentioning is specifically related to scripture, but some of those affirmations are more generic, more in terms of one's fulfilling one's desires, no matter what the source of the desire be. You mentioned this. My thought was more on that front.
I mean, in the 7th canto, Narada Muni says, before one can become a devotee, one should become a human being. And for one to become a human being, one has to have the qualities of a human being, which the wordings may be different. The style of it may be different. So sometimes the medicine is bitter Ayurveda medicine. Sometimes the medicine is coated in something nice and sweet, so it's easier to swallow. But medicine works regardless. So don't go by the packaging only. Go with the I guess the intention behind it. And different people say it, but the general intention is that I orient myself from a very whatever, I'm useless kind of thinking to if I live my life in a particular way, I draw towards me certain things that I want to accomplish. Of course, that's a worldly sense, but true, but worldly, yes.
Thank you, Prabhu. That's helpful and it clarified for me, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I am Sanatana Gopara Das.
Hare Krishna.
All these affirmations have it originated from Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna talks about himself. They say, why is bragging and all those things? Illiterate people talk about it. All these affirmations has it been originated by Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna himself talks about himself so highly.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I didn't catch what's the point you're making, Prabhu?
So the thing is, everything is whatever affirmation or positivity, what you say, Hanuman has been telling about himself, all his power and strength and other things, what he can do. The same way, Krishna himself is talked about his opulences in Gita. So it has originated from our Lord himself. He himself has been talking about it. That's what I want to find out. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj Shila Prabhupada. Prabhu, I have a question from last class where we were talking about the team together, everyone achieve more. So I want to ask like how to move from individual contributor to a team player or a leader, and what are the qualities to cultivate inside me, or thank you, Prabhu.
Well, we covered it during last week. I can't remember what I had, as Vrajvihari Prabhu says, I can't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday. I have to remember what I spoke last week. What are the qualities of a team player? Have you ever played any team sports? Hockey, cricket, soccer?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
What are the things required there for the team to win? Very similar are the characteristics required to be on a team, where individual contribution is very important, but the overall collective goal is what one has to look at. When one has a collective goal in mind, individual persons can accomplish fantastic things. Number one. Second or third is each member of the team should be selected and participating in such a way that they complement the strength of the other. If you've seen badminton doubles, for example, or table tennis doubles, when one is in the front, the other is in the back, they cover the court. As soon as one moves back, the other automatically moves forward and covers the court. And from practice, there comes a sense of understanding of how they need to cover the court. So to know what is each person's strength and recognize their strength and not focus on their weakness. Someone else needs to fit in where that weak spot is covered or taken care of. So you have to find how things fit well together and work well together. It takes time, it takes practice. It's not just overnight you can bring people together. You can find, but it takes, team dynamics are not easy to build and develop and practice and learn and work together. You can have excellent, you bring all heroes, A-listers together, and they may not do so well because they're so used to individual success and not collective. At the moment was be thinking, oh, it's not my glory. Like in soccer, a person may be very good with the ball, but at that point they have to figure out how far can I take the ball myself, or will the team do better if I pass the ball somewhere else? Those kinds of considerations are all part of building or participating in a team. It's not who gets the glory necessarily. Although there will be a person who will do the glorious job, sure, but it can change. But it's the collective outcome that's important.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Are we done? Okay, thank you very much. We officially completed Kishkinda Kanda, regardless and despite gaps, travel, health, work, situations, yatra, whatever. And next Saturday, Sundara Kanda. Woohoo! I'm so excited. How I will go through Sundara Kanda is still sort of forming in my head. Of course, the narration of the story will be there, but Sundarakanda is full of lessons, and so I may not go at this speed. We will slow down further, pick certain verses, and spend time on those verses. So, if you don't mind that slowing down, great. Sometimes we'll speed up in certain cases, but think of it as a National Geographic video where a mighty eagle is zooming down and picks a fish from the ocean, and National Geographic will only show it in slow motion. Otherwise, we'll miss. Or a cheetah pursuing an antelope. It's always shown in slow motion. So we will slow down. In some cases, we will speed up where we go through the story. But put on your seat belts. Hopefully, it also depends on the driver, right? So let's put on our seat belts and see how it goes. So thank you, and see you again next week. Until then, let the wonderful, wonderful Sri Hanumanji, who can move at the speed of the mind, who has the power like the great Vayu, who is a amazing servant of Sri Ramachandra and Sita Devi, always ready to serve. May he inspire within us a tiny fraction of service-mindedness towards the wonderful couple, Sri Sita Ramachandra, and all of their associates. And he is our hero and inspires us in bhakti. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Srimad Ram.